Hey guys, GoForce Online here to bring you another one of my trash builds. Now this is my PvP Necromancer tank that uses Magicka skills. So with the new changes they've made to the weapon skills, especially with Frost Staffs, in the Markarth DLC, the Frost tanking has become a lot more viable. So this is my PvP build. So let's take a look. So sitting at about 43k max health. Once I enter into a PvP zone, that'll probably go up to just short of 50k. Spell and physical resistance is sitting in at 25k. So with boost, it will go up to about 31, but it can also go up to 34k as well. But since we're in PvP, there's a lot of penetration happening. The 33k cap doesn't really apply. So also sitting on about 2,400 spell damage. With buffs on top of that, I push it up to 3,700. So nice bit of extra damage there for a tank build. Now using the Apprentice Munderstone here, you can swap this out for a more durability based one, so extra health or extra armor. I just wanted to get extra damage on there, so I used this one. Alright, let's take a look at the item sets. So first one here, Vanguard's Challenge, a must-have for any PvP tanking. So when you taunt an enemy player, they deal 35% less damage to all other players, but 35% more to you for 15 seconds. And this has an area of 28 meters. So very nice wide area. So if you taunt that enemy player, they do 35% less damage to everybody else, so you'll be supporting the group. So PvP tanking is more about supporting the group than really taking aggro. Next one I have here is Draga's Heritage. So when I take damage while under 35% health, knock down all enemies within 4 meters and for 4 meters for 2 seconds and heals for 9,800 health. So in PvP that would probably be half, so about 5k health. But the reason I chose this set over other sets that grant this below, so say Phoenix or Immortal Warrior, this one only has a 7-second cooldown, so it can proc a lot faster in duration. So once you hit below that 35% for whatever reason, you get that extra bit of health, get yourself some breathing room, and then continue in combat. Alright, so I'm using all heavy armor pieces just because to get that armor rating as high as possible. And then on the jewelry I've got spell damage glyphs, it's just to increase that spell damage. Now for my weapons, this is where my two sets lie. So on the front bar using a destruction staff, and this is the master's one. So reduce the cost of destructive touch by 10%, and the destructive touch now is a taunt from Markarth, and increases your spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds after it's activated. So if you use your destructive touch as your taunt, so use that as a spamming skill, you gain that 600 spell damage every time you use it. Then on the back bar I'm using Restoration Staff, and this one is when I'm using Blessing of Protection, the cost of Magicka and Stamina of my healing abilities is reduced by 21% for 3 seconds. Now the reason I have it here is because my Magicka pool is not very high. So only at 21k, so if I want to spam heals, I want to have that reduction there just to make it more efficient so I can pop out more skills off. So with that 21% reduction, I can activate all the skills in my back bar without running out of Magicka. Alright, so let's take a look at those skills. So on the front bar, Frost Clench or Destruction Clench. So this skill has been changed. So after it deals that 3.2k frost damage, it also taunts an enemy to attack you for 15 seconds. And enemies hit are immobilized for 5 seconds. Now this taunt only has a 15 meter range, but you can change the build up if you want to use the guild skill with the Undaunted, which deals approximately the same amount of damage, but it has a synergy and it also has a range of 28 meters. but then you need to change your weapon over as well. So the second one here is Unstable Wall of Frost. So this one deals AoE damage, but it also provides a damage shield that absorbs projectiles for 12k damage there, and once the skill expires it gives you another shield that gives you 6k protection. Now if you go into PvP zone, these are reduced, so that's about 6k and then 3k. But the benefit of this is that if you activate an area, especially if there's allies around, all of the allies receive this shield. So it just makes your group members a lot more durable during combat. And third one here is Frost Pulsar. So release a surge dealing 4.8k frost damage and affecting enemies with minor mangle, reducing their max health by 10% for 10 seconds. And also a skill change here is that after applying this, you grant minor protection to group members for 6 seconds. So if a lot of enemies surrounded, you activate the skill, it does damage and reduces their max health down. If you're around allies and you activate the skill, then it grants them minor protection, which reduces their damage taken as well. So it works well as a damage skill, as a debuff, and as a support for your allies. The next one here is Expunge and Modify from the class skill. So removes 2 negative effects and from yourself and restores 500 magicka and stamina for each negative effect removed. While slotted, this your abilities cost 3% less. So nice skill to have there. Basically it just works if you've got enemy players applying a lot of debuffs, so trying to mobilize you or anything like that. You'll activate this skill and you'll see the skill only becomes active if you have a negative effect on you. So as soon as you see the skill can be used, then you know you've got a negative effect on you. You can expunge it and then get some resources back at the same time. And the skill costs health instead of any other resource. So as long as you've got health, which at a 50k health pool you will have a lot of it, this skill will always be available to use. And the last one here is the Scythe. So you can change this one up for the Magicka version as well. The only reason I have the Stamina version here is this is my spammable skill, so I can use Magicka on my other 3 main skills and then Stamina as an extra one because it heals you. So every time you hit an enemy, you heal for 6.4k health, and every additional enemy you heal for another 2100. Now the Magicka and the Stamina version both heal for the same amount, so it's up to you which one you want to use. But on this build, the Magicka version will do a lot more damage than the Stamina version. But like I said, just have it there as a spammable skill to use my stamina. And the last one here is the Goliath. So you gain 30k max health and restore 30k max health. So if you're getting really close to dying, activating this skill will take you back up to full health. And you also restore health for attacks that you land, so light attacks and heavy attacks. And you also deal magic damage to nearby enemies, and you heal for that amount. So pretty much for 20 seconds you are unkillable for that duration. Alrighty, so this is the Destruction Star front bar. So let's take a look at the back bar. First one I have here is Combat Prayer, which is from also Blessing of Protection. So activating this skill reduces the cost of all these other skills by 21% for that 3 seconds. And this one also heals for allies in the area for 5k health. So most of the back bar is just designed for healing, especially if you have to support allies where you don't necessarily need to be tank as much. So healing works as well. And also grants Minor Berserk, which increases the damage done by 5%, and Minor Resolve, which increases the physical and spell resistance by 2,900 now, instead of the original 1,300 it had. So since Markarth, the buffs have changed around, so some have been reduced and some have been increased. So this one grants more resistance there. The second one here is regeneration, so you heal for 15k health over 10 seconds for you and up to 3 nearby allies. So it works really well in battlegrounds, so it just gets an extra heal off and people can be healed for those 10 seconds. The third one here, sacrifice your own power, so you heal yourself or an ally in front of you for 8,900 health, but you apply minor defile on yourself, which reduces your healing received and health recovery by 8%. So you can cleanse this effect with this skill here, but if it's sitting on top of you, especially if you're healing allies, it doesn't matter as much, but if you have to heal yourself, you definitely have to have that debuff removed. And it also grants the target physical and spell resistance equal to half the amount healed for 3 seconds. So that's about 4.5k extra resistances there. So for me, it wouldn't really make a big difference because it definitely pushed me over the cap. But if I'm healing somebody else, then that extra resistances might help them survive that encounter. Then it's beckoning armor, so it increases your physical and spell resistance by 5,900 now for 20 seconds, and also anybody attacks you from a distance gets chained and pulled towards you. So anybody who attacks at range then has to be pulled close, so they have to attack at melee range. And then we've got the Spirit Guardian, which heals you for 3,400 every 2 seconds, and while this spirit is active, 10% of the damage you take is transferred to the spirit instead. So just a bit of extra damage mitigation there to make sure that you clear the content. And then the last one here is Replenishing Barrier. So it grants a damage shield of 26k, so in PvP that will be 13k. And for every time a ward is dissolved, you gain ultimate and magicka back. Now this is mostly just there for if your group is going to go into combat and you're not necessarily worried about you dying but other group members dying. So this is a support ultimate, whereas the front bar ultimate is more selfish, personal survivability ultimate. So make sure which one you use. Anyway, so let's take a look. From the front bar, you've got the wall so you can see the shields coming up there. You've got the pulsar that's activated, and then destructive clench. So you can see I've gone up to 3k magic and spell damage with sorcery active as well. Activate that skill, goes up to 3,700 spell damage, for tanking is fairly high. And then just that spammable skill that heals you every time it strikes an enemy. Then on the back bar, you've got regeneration, you've got the blessings, you've got that personal heal there that also grants you armor. You've got the beckoning armor, which you'll activate before combat, which increases your resistances, and the spirit as well, which will heal you if you do take damage, but more importantly, it will take 10% of your damage. So before combat starts, you activate the last 2 skills. If you do need to heal during combat, you activate the first 3, but most of the time you will spend on the front bar there. Anyway, thanks for listening guys. If you like the content I'm putting out, please hit that like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for builds that I need to do in the future, please let me know in the comments down below. Take care and be safe. Bye.